Actually, I just posted a post on the tie-dyeing group to ask for a little bit of help in the difference between doing a live stream and recording without having it take up space on my phone. So this is a good educational moment for me too.
We can do the live. That helps monetize you, but I don't have any way to monetize myself, or I don't know if you're on there as monetized, like your professional Facebook. Do you know anything about that?
Not yet, but I would like to do that though, because I've been.
We can do that too. We can do both.
Okay. Well, I'm talking about long term for what I do too. I'm looking for ways to do that without a lot of people have suggested that I should be doing that, and I've been through 3 years of just like out on the open sea trying to find a new place to live, and we got this place, and it's happy, and I can start actually focusing on my work for the first time in 3 years right now. So we're at that point this spring.
Nice.
Where I'm actually seeing a future again after 3 years of just nightmarish house search.
Yeah, I also for 3 years broke down and was not able to conduct my art or anything like that. Actually, there's all these Indian converting to the Indian IDs because I'm a U.S. citizen. Has given me a little trouble in just trying to acclimate and do the transition to even do any sales or anything like that. So I kind of just shut down. And I was also in and out of mental hospitals because of the domestic violence incident that I went through.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm doing better now, and I'm really happy to be able to connect to other artists on this type of platforms. It's good. So what motivated you to get into tie-dye art? And your shirt looks beautiful, by the way.
Oh, thank you. The story started about 40 years ago. I was always an artist. I've drawn and done portraits. I've been trained by the Art Institute for advertising and such, and was setting out to be a portrait artist in my early days. And in Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, okay.
And so I got the degree in advertising, but I had visions of being the next Rembrandt or something like that, and just the advertising world didn't really appeal to me either. But I used what I knew about putting together formats and comps and stuff like that to show what you intend to do, to show your intention for art and getting customer approval and stuff like that. Learn those kind of ropes in my formal training in advertising. But again, I wanted to do, something a little more unique than just print ads and artwork to sell other people's products, because I had my own art, and I again was looking into becoming a portrait artist, and found tie-dye when I went to a Unitarian conference in Virginia one year when I was 21, and the kids were making tie-dye in the quad with Rit dye and big buckets, a bucket of blue and a bucket of red and a bucket of green, a bucket of yellow, and they're taking Dixie cups and dipping it and pouring it on to the shirts, and a 9-year-old showed me how to make a spiral, and so I did the standard Zoom spiral tie-dye, and started playing with that. And the first half dozen shirts I made, people were walking by the laundry room and seeing tie-dye floating around in the dryer. Are you selling those? And I'm like, yeah. And I, 21, fresh out of the Army, and at this conference to basically start my life over after, jumping into adulthood and being a civilian again. Going back to that, the first tie-dye that I really made was by accident when I was in the Army. Another soldier spilled some bleach in the laundry room, and the puddle was approaching my stack of folded uniforms. So I just grabbed a green shirt, wiped up the bleach, and he's like, you better rinse that out. And I'm like, give it a minute. And so when I did rinse it out, it looked really cool, and I wore it under my uniform. And, here it still looked like a green shirt, but when it shows through the BDU uniform. But we were at a range one day, and the first sergeant saw us all standing around joking and talking, and decided he needed to see some structure and order. And so he had us take off our BDU tops, fold them up, and do some calisthenics. And I'm the one out there wearing a green and white tie-dye, and among this sea of green T-shirts. And he came up behind me and said, "I see you wearing that hippie crap again. Be Article 15 for destruction of government property." And I said, "Well, it's my shirt for Sergeant." And he said, "You're government property." Like, oh, okay, so that taught me some things about that too. So a year later, when I was out of the military, I found myself at this conference, and the kids were making tie-dyes in the quad, and I joined them for a day, and then that conference lasts 1 week in July. So the following year, I'm out there doing the same thing, doing tie-dye, 3 or 4 afternoons in a row with the kids. And then the next year too. And so that was, I think, 86. And 87, the youth director called me into her office and said, tie-dye program is pretty important to the kids, right? And I said, yeah, I know. And I'm expecting she's about to tell me to go hang out with the adults and let the kids be kids. But she said, how would you like to come next year as staff? And, and I was like, okay. So still waiting for the next year to come around. She calls me around April and said, still want you to run the tie-dye program, but can you also dye about 88 shirts for our youth staff? And I said, sure. So that was my first wholesale job in the winter and spring of 88. And then in the summer of 88, I took those staff shirts with me and taught the workshop. And that was pretty much the start of my doing it as a career. And so that was 88. Summer of 88 was the year that I did those shirts. So so that was the start of it. And then I just started taking requests and challenges to do different designs. And before I knew it, I couldn't afford to get out of it. It was I had like
you invested.
Had so much into what I told people I would do for them, that it was like, even when times got scary, I still had to finish what I was working on. And so that's
how your style evolved with all the commission requests.
Pretty much, yeah. And of course, I see a design, I'm challenged to try my take on it. So I've done tie-dye. Ron Davis showed me how to do this mandala design in the summer of '91, and I showed him how I stitch up a Grateful Dead bear, and he was just like, "Oh, you can have it. That's too much work." So
you did some tapestries too, some really big tapestries.
I have, yeah. I've done a few large pieces that I had to hang on the side of the house to photograph over a 2-car garage. I've got one pretty large piece in my living room right now that's available.
Can we see it?
I'm sure. Let me unplug that. Hopefully my phone is charged enough. I can plug it back in when we get back in here.
Yeah.
But before, I don't know how much you can see.
Is that lion also? Is that your hand-painted lion?
That's one of my lions. That was a T-shirt.
Okay.
And here is a tie-dye portrait that I did of Ron Davis that I was just talking about, the fellow who showed me how to do the mandala.
Oh, nice.
And he has passed away. But I did that while he was in a coma, and said, I sure hope he gets to see it. And the first comment that popped up on Facebook was he was out of the coma and loved it. So,
Oh,
but
great.
he has since passed away though last year. We lost Ron. But yeah, so these are some pieces that I keep in my workshop just to give me inspiration as I go. And I still want to line. I'm new to this space. So after 10 years in my workshop in Georgia, I'm putting this space together up in Western New York. And I still want that empty space on the walls. I want to line that with framed photos of my happy customers that every time I sell one, I'll ask the person who buys it to pose for a photo of holding it with a smile. And this is actually for my inventory purposes is why I do that, so I know what to take off of my website when I sell something live. The result is I have thousands of photos of smiling faces holding my work. So over the years, but let me take you through and show you. This is where I keep my stock that I mail out. And,
Nice.
And I have a little mailing and address table here, and a few pieces on the wall that I've turned into canvas prints.
Your little studio's beautiful.
And then the living room is a little bit cluttery because we got some boxes that have to be burned. We got a fire pit we're waiting for springtime to do. But there's my son Lennon's apple. And one of my mandalas, another mandala. And these paintings, there's some paintings we're getting ready to put up on the wall. My mom does. I'm taking care of my mom. She's 80. She'll be 81 this year, but she just started painting 2 years ago. And this is the giant tapestry that I was talking about.
That is amazing.
And that's let's see, the couch is 8 feet wide, so the tapestry is I think about 10 feet wide.
10 feet, yeah.
Let me put a light on it here. There we go.
That's so beautiful.
So this one is available on my website. It's got $1,000 asking price.
Okay.
And this space up here, we're going to put more of my mom's paintings up.
Nice.
And, so there's a whole stack of them there. We're getting ready to do. But yeah, this is.
How much do your mom's paintings run for?
Her prices are fluctuating. I would have to ask her, but somewhere in the 250 to between 250 and 500 range. She's
That's pretty.
looking for her style. So she's got a bunch of eclectic, different style works.
I like this one. This is beautiful too. That's hers. I like that purple tie dye right there.
Which one? This one?
No, the one behind you.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, that is a canvas print of one of my pieces that I think it was about 2017 when I did that as a giant tapestry. So that one was pretty big, I think.
How much are you charging for that?
This would go for $250.
Okay. Can you show us some of your shirts too?
It is a sublimation print. So, but yeah, these are. Let's see. This is a long sleeve that is available. All of these are on the website at TieDyeSteve.com.
And your website for everyone who hasn't seen your stuff?
It is just my nickname, TieDyeSteve.com.
Okay.
And that's TIEDYE. And a little kid's shirt here.
That's so beautiful. Looks almost like a lion spirit.
And then, so these are all in the like $40 to $60 range.
Okay.
Another little one. I like this one.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And some baby onesies. These are in the $30 range here.
Oh, you got some baby ones.
But let's see. These are getting up into the like $250 range. The ones that I spend several hours
complex.
Yeah, I spend several hours hand stitching the detail on these. So yeah, I definitely charge a bit more for those. I think there's one of the guys from Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, I was almost gonna say, is that Peaky Blinders? And then I didn't want to say it because I didn't know if it was or not.
And here's another bear for $250.
Okay.
So, and I'm working on a mushroom and an Uncle Sam with roses. Here's one, Wavy Gravy. I did that. Actually, I think he owns that one. I've done a couple that I've done for him or of him, and one of them went to him, and a couple went to his business manager, is a friend of mine, Mark, has bought several of those. So it's fun. It's fun to see the pictures of Wavy Gravy wearing that shirt. It's
And you're gonna put photos of all these pretty soon?
The ones I'm working on, yeah. Right now, let's see. Let me get back in the workroom.
It's so beautiful to see all the different designs and how they evolved.
Right now, the ones that I'm talking about are in here, and I put them in these tubs and wrap them in the ones that are too big, with the pie pans that are too big to go into the tubs, I have to wrap them in plastic to keep them moist. Because I'll spend like 2 or 3 weeks folding to get all of this ready.
Right.
And
this is
already
the 3 weeks into the process.
Right. So you're catching me on a day when I'm about to take these sheets of plastic and lay them out on the tables. And I hope I'm not moving the phone too fast. Like I said, I'm new to Zoom, so I'll have to learn some of these things.
This is good. We can see all your work and your process. It's so great.
Yeah. So once we get off the line, I'll lay plastic down and then lay the newspaper down on top of that, and fill up these tables. And I've got a smaller table that I might have to put into use right here in this empty space. But over here, I've got, you can see I use that. Oh, actually, the picture that's on my screen is what it looks like when it's in full.
Oh, okay.
That's what it'll look like when I get into full swing. And so
how long
here
does it take you from now until the ending of the process?
I will probably get about halfway done with one side of them tonight, and then I will finish side 2 tomorrow, and tomorrow will be a short day because I've got music tomorrow night. And then I'll flip them over and do side 2, which goes quicker than side 1 because all the decisions have been made. I'm just like responding to what I see and filling in the gaps when I do side 2. Because once you do side 1, gravity has its effect, and you flip them over, and some of the color comes through.
Comes into the side 2.
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily using the same color, but I know what, I'll lay if I see blue coming through, I'll put the blue beside it and put green over the blue, and that's how you get those like interlocking fingers of color that happen. So, but anyway, side 2 doesn't take as long to do, so that'll be I can get all of that done hopefully Friday, and spend the weekend rinsing.
Okay.
And again, I'm new to this area, so I've made a lot of friends in the local music scene, and weekends are starting to call to me. I spent like 3 years in Georgia, pretty much isolated.
Oh wow!
Up on my little hill in North Georgia, and didn't go out as much as I am used to going out. Especially the last 3 years, it's been weird. But I'm here in New York now, and it's a small town, but it's still there's a better music scene here than there was in Georgia. And I don't want to offend any of my friends in Georgia that are in the music scene, because they were all very good, but you had to drive an hour and a half to enjoy anything.
I understand. I
Yeah.
used to live in Arizona, and it was really tough trying to balance any kind of social life. How do you keep a balance with your music passions and your tie-dye passion?
Working with wet fabric does make playing guitar difficult, because when your hands are soggy, and you go shred on guitar, you want to build some calluses, but you also don't want to do damage. And when I have to make my living, your fingers tend to sting when you fold wet soda ash with guitar fingers. And that, it mucks up, trying to play guitar with wet fingers. It mucks up. So I do have to find some time to devote just to keeping my hands dry enough to play guitar and not overdoing it in practice, but, being adequate to, practice to be able to perform. But I also have to keep a certain humility about myself when I'm out playing guitar, because there is this tendency between guitar players to, for the joke is, how many guitar players does it take to change a light bulb? One to actually do it, and 10 to stand back and say, I could do that. So I have to find the balance and be humble and just let people know, hey, I'm not trying to take a lead, but I can play rhythm enough to to back up my own vocals. And so and singing is what I enjoy more than playing guitar anyway. So so there's that. But basically finding some time to devote to one or the other. And I used to, when I did nothing but stitch, but I did a quicker job to do a simpler image, I would stitch a shirt and play a song on guitar, and stitch a shirt and play a song on guitar. But now the stitching that I do takes 14 hours. So if I wait, so I'll stitch a little bit, play a little bit. But when I'm folding, I'd stitch dry. But when I'm folding the simpler designs, the shirts are wet already. So that's when I have to differentiate with that. But again, I thought about it when you laid down what the questions would be like last night about how do I balance? So I've had that question rolling around in my head for the last 24 hours of how do I balance it? Because it's like I said, everything is new to me now with the whole New York thing, and
it must be nice though being more involved in the music side of things, which you were missing in North Georgia. Because I feel isolated out here, even though they have a scene. I kind of keep to myself because I'm kind of building myself up.
Mm-hmm.
And then, slowly I'll get back out there, but not just quite yet. And I don't have the money for the materials to make I used to make big canvases. I'm not used to making small canvases, but I have made this painting.
Nice.
Actually, that would look cool on your tie-dye. I wonder if people make paintings and then ask you to do a tie-dye of their paintings. Do a lot of people do that?
Not really, but I do a lot of work on shirts that have been printed.
Okay.
So if you've like a lot of brewery shirts, a lot of concert shirts and stuff like that. So so I do that sort of work also to highlight an image, and I use the same techniques that I use to make my own images. For me, it has to be, to do it the way I do it, it has to be symmetrical, because I fold the shirt in half and I'll draw half of an image and then stitch the through and along the lines for the drawing.
I'm so bad at symmetry. I like really admire that you can come out with symmetrical designs.
And I used to stitch right on the line, but now I'm focused more on the negative space and stitching around the line. So I kind of go along the lines of railroad tracks, but this one will go that way, and a stitch that's been running side by side, one will go that way and the other one will go this way when it gets to an intersection, and then I'll stitch a whole other line from the other side. So it definitely takes more time now. None of the techniques that I've found that make the shirts look better cut off any time. Everything that makes them look better adds more time to the process, and
it's a very complex process. I mean, just as far as what you've shown me, I know that I wouldn't be able to just pick that up. What advice would you give to somebody who's starting out, like just trying to learn the basics?
Keep your day job. I've been doing this for 40 years, and I've not been able to pull myself away enough to. A couple times, like Hurricane Andrew in '92, destroyed my bus, and I also was burglarized the same night as the hurricane. So all my dyes were stolen, and so I kind of had to start over and get a job. So that was I worked for a sign company in South Florida in '92 for a little while after Hurricane Andrew, but everything else has been I don't have time to go out and get a job, but for someone just starting, it's like I've seen a lot of people that I'm just like, oh, you poor thing, you're thinking that you're going to jump into this to make a mint. It's definitely, there's been some scary times. Yeah.
It's so nice to see that you picked yourself up so good, and that you're, totally involved in your passions, whether it be music or art, and you're balancing everything so well, from even all these mishaps that happened to you and that you didn't expect. It's so nice to see your studio, and I'm so glad to have you. And maybe we should do this again in a couple months or so.
Certainly, this being my first one, I hope to get better at the whole presentation on video of my workspace. Like I said, with everything that went on the last 3 years, I had people telling me you should do this, and I'm like, I want to do it, but right now I'm looking for a place to do it. So this space I think is pretty awesome for what I do, and my mom is pitching in with her paintings too. So
her paintings are beautiful as well, Steve.
Before we part, let me show you the one other room that she and I share, because I have my washing machine set up to spin my soda ash out.
Okay.
This is the station where that happens. But also in this room, she has her painting table.
Oh, nice.
And so this is where she does her work, and I put those shelves up for her. And
that's so nice of you, Steve.
Well, we do share the space, so it's but yeah, you come out here, and this is where I do my stuff. So
yeah. Well, even maybe we might have you on earlier if we want to do the Facebook Live thing. We could try that too, But
okay.
I just wanted to thank you for having me as your host, and thank you for showing us all the process and what you've gone through and how you've made it so far.
Well, I may have some questions for you later about because you mentioned that you are going to be able to save this to be watched later. I may have. Are you using hard drive space to do that, or is it in the cloud?
Yeah, it's saving on my computer right now.
Oh, okay.
We'll figure it out. I'm not gonna leave you hanging.
All right.
Okay.
Well, it was very good to talk to you.
Very good to talk to you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.